So what what is an ideal customer profile for you? Is it an off-grid home in in a rural setting? Is it a campus? Is it something in between? Who are some of your customers? And
Yeah, there's a few cascading aspects of an ideal customer for us. Number one being that they want to be, they want to be energy independent. Okay, and
Mhm.
so if their motivation is to be, independent of relying on the utility grid, that's a good customer for RaVolt. In addition to that, like you typically, I'd say a more rural setting, right, of is likely a major, aspect of an ideal customer for us. It doesn't necessarily have to be a rural customer, but someone that's maybe got an acre of land, that is, that has, the ability to mostly have either a ground mount array, or they have a simple roof structure that they can put roof mount on. So because in mostly, those people coincide, right, when you don't have, when you're not inside of a city or a major metropolitan area in the United States, the electricity is not nearly as reliable, right?
Yeah.
And also it might be a longer period of time if something does go wrong, but you're experiencing an outage, right? And so when you combine those aspects of that, you really get like that ideal customer of someone that says, I can't go without power. I need power, and I can't actually rely that, if something does happen, a major storm or a major outage, it could be days that I'm out of electricity, right? And so I need to, make sure that my well pump is working. I need to make sure that my refrigerator stays running. And I'm very, and it's that's very important to me. So those would be like the two probably core aspects of a RaVolt customer, or an ideal RaVolt customer.
Yeah, and I remember in one of our previous conversations you mentioning one of your like ideal case studies. I guess what became a case study for the company was one of your customers was a certain distance away from the grid, so
Mhm.
there was this need to build a half a mile or a mile of extra wiring to reach the property, and when and the economics of that compared to building a full-on off-grid system with RaVolt as the core piece of that solution was when the full economics of these types of solutions made sense, and that makes a lot of sense to me because if you think about traditional typical utility companies that are serving a metro area, but then there's a bunch of rural customers. Usually the metro area ratepayers are subsidizing the rural customers. So what you're doing actually brings a good balance to the economics of how to power, every property across the nation.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And like the most economical and like equitable way, right? So it's like, as land, like, land is, a finite thing, right? And so as what we're seeing is as folks maybe move away from a metropolitan area, and maybe they buy,
I
it's
think
a
that
small,
trend started with COVID, probably. I
right, which,
can
which
fairly
started
say
during,
that. Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
there's been
yeah,
a lot of exodus out of metropolitan areas,
yeah,
since the pandemic, right? So
yeah.
so but there might not be the most best acre lot pieces left, right, and so yeah, or maybe they're great, but it's a right of way, right? It's a right of way that you're required through somebody else's land, and that you want to put your home, a half a mile off the property. Well, there's like an economic feedback for that. You don't just call up your local utility and say, hey, I'm building a house here, bring me electricity. They're going to send you a bill too, right? So what we found is that, those can be, expensive, and that, another ideal customer of RaVolt is like this homesteader type of mindset, right, where I built my piece of property and I'm going to build a house on it. And that may be, like I said, it may be a half a mile from the local, the closest utility, right? So that might be a $80,000 bill from the utility to say, hey, I'm going to, I have to do it underground, or I have to put poles in. Like, the utility owns to the transformer, right? They're going to set the transformer clear out by your house. And so that can be super expensive, right? And so there are a
Yeah.
lot of times when people have these types of things where we may be able to do this for cheaper, right, and in a lot of cases we have, right. The payoff is about a half a mile. Okay, so
Okay.
if you're or that's what we've seen, right. The module costs continue to come down, right, so maybe we're a third of a mile at this point, but
Yeah.
if you have a property and you're building a house, and you want to think about that, like, give us a call. Like we can help you do this. We have a lot of
Right.
experience doing this. We
Yeah.
find people all over the country in this scenario where it's let's just call it $80,000 to bring in utility, right? And
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's a reliable form of power, but it's
Yeah.
like, hey, give us $80,000 for the privilege to pay us a monthly bill, right? So why don't you just do this off grid instead, right? And we've done this in all over the country, from upstate New York, to a farm, farmland in Alabama, to Colorado, the mountains in Colorado. We do this all over the country, and help these people make these types of economic decisions. And I will say, like, we're a very truthful company in this area too. Like, we have payoff calculators, and we can help you, like, make that decision. And if the decision means that you don't go off grid, that's fine too. We just want to be a reliable source of information for you when you make these types of important decisions about, a piece of land that you bought, like, or your final home. Like, this is your dream. This can be your dream, and we just want to make sure that it's something that is actually feasible for you. So we're very truthful when we talk to customers in those circumstances.